Like my colleague from Missouri, last week I traveled all around my home state, had about 9 town hall meetings and many other meetings of all kinds in every part of the state. In these town hall meetings, gas prices, the price at the pump, wasn't the first question that always came up. It was the first 8 questions that always came up. In fact, of all of the discussion I had in all of these town hall meetings put together, about 2/3 of that entire discussion, that entire time, was about rising gasoline prices and energy prices. It's obviously affecting folks all across the country, certainly including in my home state of Louisiana. In early 2006, when this new Democratic Congress was sworn into office and came into power, the average price at the pump was $2.33 a gallon. And the new leadership vowed they would do something about those sky-high prices. Well, apparently they did, because now the average price at the pump is $3.98 a gallon, a staggering increase in a relatively short amount of time. And so in this context, when Americans all over our country, certainly including in Louisiana, are suffering from these sky-high prices that continue to rise, as they go into the summer driving season, many hoping to take family vacations, realizing that they can't this summer because of these costs, I think it's a very reasonable question to ask: what is this Lieberman-Warner climate change bill going to do to an already dire situation with regard to energy prices? Unfortunately, Mr. President, I've concluded that it's going to make that already dire situation much worse. It's going to add on to gasoline prices, as my colleague from Missouri has stated. It's going to add on to electricity and other energy prices significantly. On the job side, it's going to also encourage and exacerbate a very worrisome trend of exporting jobs to other countries. And after all of that, it will do little or nothing with regard to the fundamental climate change challenge, because it mandates nothing on the part of other industrializing powers like China and India. Mr. President, several economic studies have specifically examined these questions. Let's start with the price at the pump. The Energy Information Administration estimates that this bill will cause gasoline prices to increase, in addition to everything that's going on now, between 41 cents a gallon to $1.01 a gallon by 2030. Now again, we're facing dramatically rising prices at the pump now, and there seems to be no end in sight, in large part because we in Congress haven't acted in a bold manner to increase supply, do other things to help ourselves at home. And yet this bill would move us even further in the wrong direction, between 41 cents and $1.01 per gallon by 2030. According to the EIA, the average American consumes 500 gallons of gasoline every year. The average vehicle is driven more than 12,000 miles per year. And so even now at $4 a gallon, 12-gallon gas tank costs over $50 to fill up, and we're going to increase that significantly. That's moving in the wrong direction. What about electricity, other important sources of energy? According to the Environmental Protection Agency, this bill will increase those prices, electricity prices, by 44% by 2030. Again, our consumers are struggling under energy prices right now, including electricity. Winters are a tough time for folks in the Northeast. In my part of the world, summer is the time of peak electricity load, and that's a real price burden right now. And yet, we're considering a bill that's going to increase that, an already challenging and dire situation, by 44%. And then, Mr. President, what about the jobs picture? We debate in this body all the time how we can keep and expand and grow manufacturing jobs in this country, how we can get away from the trend of exporting those jobs overseas. And yet this bill will only make that problem worse as well. The higher energy prices caused by the bill will force U.S. manufacturers to compete unfavorably with lower-cost countries overseas. Realistically, companies will move their manufacturing base out of the United States to an even greater extent, and many American jobs will leave with them. This country has already lost 3 million manufacturing jobs since 2000. We can't afford to lose more. But what does the rigorous analysis of this bill's impact show? Well, the National Association of Manufacturers says that up to 1.8 million jobs additionally, in addition to all of those figures I've already quoted, could be lost by 2020. And 4 million jobs additionally could be lost by 2030.
The senator has 2 more minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Switching from coal plants to natural gas will drive job loss, particularly in the chemical and fertilizer industries. And the chemical industry is extremely important to my state. Over 100,000 chemical jobs have already been lost in the last 5 years due to the high price of natural gas. Out of 120 new chemical plants under worldwide construction, only 1 is being constructed here in the U.S. So like the price of gasoline, like the price of electricity, on the jobs front, we have a very dire, challenging situation already, and this bill would make it far, far worse. Now, Mr. President, the real kicker to all of this is that after all of that damage to Americans, to their lifestyles, to our economy, what would this bill do in terms of climate change? Mr. President, I'm very concerned that it would do little or nothing because of course, it mandates no action on the part of other major powers and energy consumers around the world, specifically China and India. And think about it, Mr. President, as we push these jobs overseas out of our country, where are those jobs going? They're going to countries like China and India that would not be taking similar action, that would be continuing to build coal-fired power plants and use outdated technology that would contribute to the climate change problem. So, much higher gasoline prices, much higher electricity and other energy prices, significant job loss, and what impact on the problem we're trying to address? In my opinion, little or none. Mr. President, I hope all of our colleagues on both sides of the aisle hear from the American people. Hear from them about the challenges they face right now as they fill up their automobiles, as they try to take summer vacations, as they struggle with other energy prices, as they hope to keep their jobs right here in America. If our colleagues
used 8 minutes.
If our colleagues hear that message, I'm confident they will vote down this dangerous bill. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield back my time.